Hey guys, welcome back to the Pausing Porn Podcast, the podcast that is here to support you in your healing journey from compulsive porn use. As someone that's been through the recovery journey themselves, this podcast was created to give you the knowledge, tools, and support needed to help you make the progress that you're looking for. I'm your host, Mark, and in this week's episode, I'm going to break down a big lie that porn has been telling you for years. Let's get started. Most of the lies that porn tells us is not communicated directly. It's not like there's a disclaimer before every porn video that tells the viewer, this is how healthy sex is supposed to look, or this is how long every man should be able to last. No, they don't tell us this directly, but we learn indirectly from porn. It's kind of like a silent teacher. Instead of teaching us with words, porn teaches us through repetition. And the more that we go back to porn, the more that we continue to learn from it and start believing more and more that the lies that it portrays. As someone who grew up watching porn from a very young age, it shaped my entire view of sexuality and basically contributed to 100% of my sexual education. Because of this, I and so many other men, such as yourself, believed many lies that porn portrayed. These lies were communicated through repetition, not through any actual conversation, any real science, or any real life learning. The first lie that comes to mind is the average size of a man's penis. Like, if you had asked me a few years ago to guess the average size of a man's erect penis, I would have been way off. Way off. Honestly, I probably would have said 7 to 8 inches. And the only real reason I would have believed that is, like I said, my full sex education just came from porn. And that was the baseline that I used to compare myself. So let me bring us back to reality with real science here. The most reliable study that we have comes from 2015, and it was published in the British Journal of Urology International. This study measured more than 15,000 men and is regarded as the most accurate because it's a massive sample size. Measurements were done by medical professionals, and no one was self-reporting or exaggerating. And the sample included men from a variety of countries and backgrounds. So what they found is the average erect length of a man's penis is 5.16 inches, and the average erect girth is 4.59 inches. Let that sink in, guys. Is that what you were expecting? I feel like unless you looked it up prior, or you've seen this referenced, you're probably just as shocked as I was. I thought this was a lie. I was like, there's no way. Because I thought it was the 7 to 8 range, but it's 5.16. And going back to porn, the average erection that you see portrayed in porn is 7 to 8 inches. You know, sometimes it goes above that. And when you think of it, that's 2 to 3 inches larger than the actual average in the real world. And when that's all you see for years, that is what you believe is normal because that's all you see. But the big thing that almost no one talks about is porn performers, these are outliers. These are people that are specifically chosen because they're far above average. And they're casted into these roles because they are the 1%. There is another important point that breaks a very common belief. Ethnicity is not a reliable predictor of penis size. So those stereotypes that you see in porn, these are not from science. Like, again, this is just the industry leaning into fantasy, looking to create more clicks, but it's not based in reality. The reason why I want to break this lie is so many men develop insecurity and shame about their size, thinking that they're not enough. Like, I bet there's so many men out there, maybe yourself as a listener, maybe you're in the same boat, that because of their size, they don't even try building any relationships with women because they feel insecure. They feel that they're not enough. The truth is here is that is not based on reality. That is just based on a porn view of things. What I also want to say too is size is not everything, guys. Porn has also led us to believe that size is everything. It's the main thing that women are looking for. Guys, that is another lie. Because when the researchers actually look into things and ask women what they're looking for, size is not the main factor. It barely even comes up. There's a great study published in the Journal of Sexual Medicine that was released in 2020 They looked at what actually predicts women's sexual satisfaction, and what they found is out of all things that can matter in the bedroom, emotional connection was number one. So, not measurements, not performance, it was connection. Some of the strongest predictors of women's satisfaction were things like feeling emotionally close, trusting their partner, being comfortable communicating, feeling listened to and cared about, and feeling safe during intimacy. These were the things that mattered most. And physical attributes like size, that did not predict a woman's sexual satisfaction, her orgasm frequency, or even overall desire for her partner. And guys, this lines up with multiple studies done over the past decade. But you can see from what I provided, porn teaches us the opposite. When do you see people emotionally close in pornography? When do you see them communicating comfortably? Or even them both feeling safe? Like, that is not what you see in the videos. And so, what it teaches us is the complete opposite. Porn trains men to become performers, but real intimacy is about being an actual partner. I feel like one of the only places size comes into play is if a man is insecure about his size. It doesn't come down to the size itself, but it comes down to the insecurity. And that goes around with everything. If you're shorter in height, if you don't appear to be physically fit, if you don't have a high income, right? Like all of these different things aren't necessarily deal breakers for people, but if you go and become very insecure about it, that is not attractive. Not attractive at all. The studies show that confidence, communication, and emotional connection matters so much more than any number on the ruler does. So when you strip away the fantasy and actually look at what women say that they want, the picture is completely different than what porn teaches us. Porn gives us a lie, and the data gives us otherwise. So guys, whether you're above average, average, or below average, none of that determines your worth, your masculinity, or your ability to have a great sex life. Let's stop giving so much weight to a single physical trait and start evaluating ourselves on the standards that we set for our character, our actions, and how we show up in our relationships. I hope this episode helped you realign some false beliefs that you might have carried and gave you a bit of clarity to what really matters. Once again, I'm your host, Mark, with the Pausing Porn Podcast. Thank you for tuning in this week, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.